Blog Talk Radio.
Here on July 8th, 2020. I want to say a shout-out to Australia. Our friend Pauline said she's going to listen. She might call in even. Who knows? Anyway.
Isn't that exciting?
Oh, yeah. I find it is. All the way in Australia, the other side of the world. Mind you, I got to tell you, I don't think I could live there. It's so hot here today. I wouldn't want to live someplace that's any hotter than this a lot of the time, okay?
Kangaroos hopping all around, blocking traffic.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know about that. Okay. I like everyone.
That's what happens.
Okay, let me just get this out so we can get the show on the road. Okay. Welcome back, Jerry.
All right. Okay.
So
same to you, I guess.
Thank you, Jerry. Yeah, I took off last week. It was Canada Day. Okay, we learned something this week for the 100th time. A young woman named Clara Janover posted some rants on TikTok about political issues. That's what I'll call them in the United States. And people sent tweets to her employer about it. Apparently, she was going to have an internship at Deloitte, right? And people were sending them tweets saying, "Do you want someone like this working for you?" And so Deloitte took away the job. They took away the offer, right? And in fact, one of the senior executives in the company, can you imagine some nobody gets a top guy at a huge worldwide company talking about her? He made a statement disassociating the company from her. So if you're worried about, the state of free speech, she's not going to go to jail for what she said, but employers are free to punish you. That's the lesson. In 2017, just 3 years ago, the New York Times did a profile of American Nazis. And one 29-year-old guy gave a long interview, and he lost his job. And so did his wife, and so did his brother-in-law, because I guess they all belong to the party. So, this has always been happening, and I guess you have to watch what you say in public, even in a democracy. And that's why the secret ballot, okay, this is my little political sermon, that's why the secret ballot is so important. I don't understand these people wanting to vote at home where their husbands or wives or anybody can look over their shoulder and criticize their vote. That's no good, okay? Not that you care. That's my opinion. But let's put that aside for now because it's time for Jerry. Jerry! What show is this? Jerry? Hold on.
The recruiting
What?
Animal.
Thank you, Jerry. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome, Jer. I was talking to Neil Lebovitz and DSP, David Stephen Patterson, I think his name is. It's a little long for me.
Yeah.
They've got a show now, and they're not like the animal show, but they kind of are. But believe me, they're way beyond what we do. We don't talk about shaving our genitals. They do, okay?
Oh, my goodness.
So if anybody,
we don't even have any genitals.
They're on Fridays at noon if anybody wants to tune in. Yeah, right. Okay, I'm going to thank the sponsors.
That's how far behind we are.
Yeah, Adams, Evans, and Ross at staffingdebt.com. If you are a recruiting firm and somebody didn't pay you, these guys do collections exclusively for recruiters, so they understand all the issues. Check them out, staffingdebt.com, pcrecruiter.net, the Swiss Army knife of recruiting software, HireTool, HireTual.com, the super-duper sourcing tool that everybody loves, and Honeit, HONEIT, ADEIT.com, the online interview recording technology, text, video, audio, you name it, okay? I'll get back to them later. Our guest is a return guest. I feel like I'm introducing the dating game today, but I'm not. Her name is Sharon D. Clark, and I'll let her introduce herself. And I'm warning you, just think in the next 2 seconds, Sharon. We call this an elevator pitch, and if you don't have a good one, I'm going to come down on you hard, okay? Go ahead.
Like I care. Hi, I'm Sharon. I am a recruiter in the Netherlands. I'm American, and, yeah, I work in the Netherlands. So
I'm a recruiter in the Netherlands, and I work in the Netherlands. You know what? It's short, okay? I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it.
She's been on here before. But I have changed since then. I was working as a recruiter, the inside recruiter in a robotics company last time. I've since made the move to working in the EMEA team for RPO.
Okay, that's a lot of jargon. You'll have to explain it as we go.
You're a recruiter. If you don't know what RPO is, man.
I've got an audience, okay? RPO, EMEA, okay.
All
okay.
Right, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so recruitment process outsourcing. That's when a company pays a recruiting specialty company to come in and take over all their corporate recruitment for them. So my team took over the entire recruitment for European, Middle East and Asia area.
And the thing is, I know you from Facebook as a very feisty, argumentative person, okay? And I remember last time you were here, you felt, I think it was your first time you felt constricted, that you really hadn't laid it on the line and given us full blast of your personality. So I'm just going to welcome you to do that here, you know? Let it out, okay? I want to let it out, and I hope you do too. Okay? And
I will let it out as much as I can in a semi-professional setting, yes.
Okay, semi-professional. That's right. I like that. Here's a public service announcement, as Jerry puts it. Okay. Last week, I got a notice from our guest from a few weeks ago from her PR person, and she wanted to, publish some stuff from the show, and she referred to Michael G. Fox. That's the guy from TV. Okay. It's Michael G. Cox, C-O-X, okay?
Well,
let me see if he's
between.
here.
It's Michael J. Fox, but okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's not get too complicated. Okay, first question. Do you accept LinkedIn connections from random people?
Depends on the person, but yes.
What does that mean? From random people?
Well, it means I get a lot of connection requests from random people, and I take a look and see if it's logical to accept their request or not.
And what percentage then, here's the key question, what percentage get accepted?
I haven't.
And Jerry wants to talk. Jerry wants to talk. Go ahead, Jerry. Jerry.
What percentage? I don't know. I haven't run the numbers on that, Michael.
Hey, it's the animal on this show. I think I warned you about that, okay?
You're losing. Hey. For the first time in several years, I went to connect with somebody, a third-degree person, on LinkedIn just this morning, and for the first time in a long time, it asked me for their email address. So maybe that's something that they're squeezing into. I don't know.
Poor Jerry used to have a good phone.
I haven't had anybody's
poor
email.
Jerry used to have a good phone.
I don't need this shit with me, Demick.
Okay.
I am
what
just
do you think?
Doing the best I can.
Okay.
I've had that occasionally, too, with connection requests to someone I've actually met in person, and it was asking me for that, and I contacted them because I actually had their phone number. I said, are you aware that it's doing this? And it was doing it to everyone, apparently. And she didn't know. It was some setting she had to go in and change.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think of branded masks as a marketing idea? I love it personally because I think they're going to be around for a while and they're being promoted more and more. What do you think about that? Jerry.
Well, my husband wears a branded mask. I don't really care one way or another. Why not?
Jerry, come on. I know it's you. I know it's you doing that, okay, with your Doritos. Please.
I don't really have a problem with it.
Okay, moving on. He doesn't like that.
Fine.
That's to me. Okay. Here, how about this? A more legitimate question. Should corporate recruiters get a commission for every hire? I mean, like a bonus every time they make a placement?
I never did.
I know, but what do you think about it? Do you think it's a good idea? Would you like to see that instituted now?
That whole discussion was going on, wasn't it, recently in the group?
Yes.
I'm not sure. It really depends on the entire setup. That's not a black or white question. It depends on how it's set up within everything else. What are your KPIs? How hard are the positions? How responsive are the hiring managers? Are the KPIs
okay, you have no answer, in other words. No answer, but I'll give you Amy's answer.
I honestly don't know.
She was very black and white about it. She said, look, I'm working on roles that are hard to fill. If we give them bonuses just for making placements, they're going to work on the easy ones to get the bonus, okay? So it doesn't work.
That. And that's my point. It depends on the whole setup. It's not a black or white question.
Okay. Does anybody else on the line want to comment on that, commissions or bonuses for corporate recruiters? Jerry, do you have an opinion?
I have no opinion.
Okay. Anybody else? Nobody? Okay. I think it's an interesting question. Okay.
Pretty lame question.
Okay. Have you ever caught...
I'm doing the best I can with the questions I get, Jer.
Yeah, you're welcome to raise any issue, and I'll tell you if I like it or not. But feel free to come up with something, okay? Have you ever caught a candidate lying in an interview?
Yes.
How do you manage that? And that sounds like you had to think about it, so it's not very often. It's not, you don't find...
No, it's not very often that I have. But when I have, yes, I did call them on it.
Why?
Because I'm responsible ultimately for what the hiring manager sees in front of them, and if I catch that and it comes out that I knew, that damages me.
Okay, this other guy said, I don't tell them because it's a liability. I just end the interview, tell them we'll get back to them, and send a generic rejection email. Isn't that smoother?
It depends. Is that an agency or a corporate? Because you have different levels of...
He's corporate.
Okay. No, I'll be honest about it.
So hold on. We keep hearing that people lie all the time on their resumes. That's not your experience. Am I right?
If you're looking to explore fresh perspectives, dive into compensation tech, or just enjoy a lively conversation and debates about the evolving world of total rewards, you're in the right place. Welcome to Totally Rewarding Chats, where we discuss the future of compensation, benefits, talent, and all things HR tech. I'm Sean Luchins, VP of Product Strategy at Salary.com. Bring years of product and development perspective. Joining me is the bow tie wearing, comp tech loving, experienced guru Paul Ryman, founder and managing partner of Novo Insights. Together, we'll be jamming with guests and sharing candid, unfiltered conversations about total reward strategy, compensation technology, talent trends, and anything else we find interesting in the world of HR.
Not that often. What I see more than I don't really see lying so much as I see some people massage the truth a bit, but it's not the same thing as out and out lying.
It's not the same thing as lying? Massage the truth?
As in,
you know what? You think of an example.
Look, I can tell you what I mean. You and I both know that a CV or a resume, it's a marketing document, which means you're going to use the best language you can to describe what you did. It could be accurate to an extent, but what you call it may be, perceived by someone else as, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you know what? That marketing document stuff, I never buy that. It's supposed to be true. Jerry, do you have any opinions on this? You must see resumes.
Oh, it happens. I mean, I think most resumes have some sort of fudge on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
No.
Some of it's important, some of it's not. I mean, they might list a few in like the software world, they might list a few programming languages that maybe they don't have a full understanding of, but they could probably pick it up quick enough if they were on the job. They maybe a few projects where they did a little. Yeah, there's a little bit. I mean, there's no point in rubbing somebody's nose in it. I mean,
hold on.
Diplomacy.
Let me ask you. Wait a second. How do you
goes
detect
a long
it?
way in our profession.
Hold on. How do you detect it?
You can just tell sometimes. I don't have a specific example, dude. Do you? Do you catch people in lies? How do you detect it?
I don't find that people lie that much. I've never found
really?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing that I come across more often, and maybe it's because
let the guest talk for a second. Let the guest talk for a second.
The one thing I do come across that I always have to question, and it's not necessarily a lie, it's perception, is language levels, because I do work in the Netherlands, and I'm recruiting jobs that usually require something other than English or not just English at certain levels. And I find that the level someone will say they're at, or if they list a language that's not their native language, I always have to check what the level is. And that's where I find the most fudging, to be honest.
Okay.
That's my unique situation, I think.
That's easy to catch them on. But hold on. Jerry, you said something that I missed, and it was the key part of your statement, okay? You said when you catch them in something, you don't bring it up. Am I correct on that? You don't say, hey, you really don't. You're not very strong.
Again, I may or may not. Yeah, you always look for 100% concrete rule on things, and the reason that people think that I'm very successful is because I go with each situation. I'm not going to sit here and say every time I catch somebody fibbing, I do X, Y, or Z. It just depends on the situation, man.
Okay.
Don't you?
But
what do you do when you catch a guy that says he spent 4 years somewhere, but he was probably only there for like 2.5 or 3? What would you do, animal? Say, hey, buddy, I caught you lying. Are you a liar?
Yeah, that's what I'd say. You're trying to pull one over on me.
You're very smooth.
Okay.
I must admit.
Okay. Yeah, neither of you have said you would rule out a candidate like this guy said. Okay, neither of you would rule out a candidate.
Hold on. I most certainly would if he lied about a degree.
I
have a degree and then they don't.
People because of that. Sure.
I would rule out somebody if they said that they worked somewhere that they didn't.
Okay.
I would rule out some. Well, I'm just telling you. I mean, so don't say that I said I would never rule somebody out for catching them in a lie. I most certainly would.
Yeah.
Sharon,
stop it, animal.
Sharon, you're with Jerry on that. I can hear it.
Yeah, and I have done that.
Everybody's with me on that.
And did you say to them,
calling them out on it? The question is how you handle it.
And that's what I'm asking you. So you said you have. Tell me your experience. What did they lie on? Their schooling or their employment? What was it?
I've seen them. It's not, and again, your definition of a lie. They put down maybe, when I was doing tech, maybe they did put down a programming language that they touched, or they've done.
We moved on from that already. Jerry's talking about a blatant lie right now about your education or your employment. And you said, I'm with him on that.
Absolutely. That's why the first thing I do is when I get a CV, I double check their LinkedIn to see if it syncs.
Okay, well, they can lie on both of them. But I will add something. The education is probably the least important thing about the revealing thing about their ability. Who cares, really?
It's not that I care about the education. I care about the fact that they lied. And what does that mean they're going to do on the work floor when they have a difficult situation?
Sometimes you have to lie. You know what? Here, I'll give you an example. There was an ad for a recruiting manager, and they needed the person to have an HR degree. Okay? Our ideal recruiting manager holds an academic HR background combined with work experience, and the person who is an experienced HR manager, she said, in what universe does an academic HR background make for a good recruiting manager? Okay, is there an HR class that teaches you how to screen, interview, and assess candidates? No.
I guess
okay?
from the point of knowing your employment law and stuff, that would be important.
Let me add a perspective from down under, if I can. A friend of mine in our industry.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Sharon.
Sharon, can you hear? 5.
She's working in a different.
Me?
Off and on. Sharon, can you hear Jerry properly? Is it just
cuts
me?
out. It's starting to cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about ready to quit this show. It's turned into a bunch of crap.
Jerry, I can just start sending you an online connection. I mean, your phone. I can't believe you're using this for business.
You know something? I'm not. You call this business?
Well, for him,
Pauline Rogers says that
one out
of 5 people have completely fictitious experience on their resumes. Total lies. 1 out of 5.
Well, tell her to call in. Are you on the line, Pauline? I don't think she's on the line. Pauline, are you here? No.
I'm here. Here. Hello.
Hi.
Look at that. Okay.
Greetings from Sydney.
So
your
phone connection.
You're going to be lambasted.
No, it's probably better than yours, Jerry. Okay. Pauline, are you telling us that 80% of your candidates lie on their resumes?
No, probably about 20% of hospitality candidates. Absolute fiction, pure fiction, made up. Didn't happen. Yeah.
And do you
hold
on a second?
That's why we reference check.
Okay, but do you call them on it? Do you say you're lying? Do you actually say that? You're finished, liar. Do you do that?
You know what? That's really interesting because we don't. I mean, I personally don't. Because I don't usually expose that in the interview. It's only when I sit back and check. And I just let them go because it's a very small world in hospitality in Australia. So I just say thank you, but no thanks. We weren't successful rather than you weren't successful.
Can you believe this call? Right. The guest is in Holland. We've got a caller from Australia, and then there's Jerry in the Midwest with his phone, his lousy phone. I'm going to do an ad.
Can you hear me?
I got to do an ad. HireTool, HireTool.com. It is the super duper sourcing tool. If you look at a discussion in one of the recruiting groups on Facebook, it's always mentioned. There's name brand recruiters who everybody respects who rave about it, okay? They say it speeds everything up, very quickly. I think Mike Krause said that. Amy Miller, we mentioned her a minute ago. She loves it. So check it out. HireTool, HireTool, PCRecruiter.net. It's the most, I don't know if it's the most versatile, but it's a very versatile recruiting software. It doesn't matter what kind of recruiting you're in. It could be temp, it could be direct hire, executive search. It's very, very flexible and customizable. And if you don't know how to do that yourself, they're happy to help you. You could be a kitchen table recruiter. You could be a recruiter in a big, big company. If you're a recruiter, they love you. Okay. Hone it. I'll do Hone it in a minute. We'll just leave that at that for now. Nice to hear from you, Pauline. I haven't talked to you in like a few years, and I've only known you for a few years. Okay. Yeah. What about reference checks? Pauline mentioned reference checks. I read that reference checks, sometimes you're going to get a good reference check from someone who's just been sucking up to the manager, someone who doesn't have any original ideas or is afraid to come out with them. So, yeah, the manager says something. This person says, oh, great idea. I'm going to run with that for you. Whereas someone who's actually a better person, a better professional, says, well, I don't think we should do it that way. Here's another idea. Manager doesn't like someone telling him he's wrong all the time or that she's wrong all the time. So who's going to get the better reference check? Sharon D. Clark, do you check references, number one, and what's your take on them?
I have checked references in the past because it was a compliance issue. So it's, in my opinion, reference checks are largely a matter of covering liability. that's what they're for. They're covering the liability of the company.
What does it mean? It's so vague. I have nothing. What does that mean?
I thought your vocabulary is limited animal. You know what liability means.
No, yeah, well, for what? Liable for what? I mean, there's no, yeah, come on. What does it mean?
For example, so I haven't done like Department of Defense level checks or anything where, there's all these kind of legislations around it, but, due diligence, if a person's in a role where they could cause, damages like a health and safety role or, financial role where they could just abscond with a bunch of money. Yeah, reference checks are called for in that. But I think in general.
Okay, here's what I'm talking about. Here's what I'm talking about. You call up the person's last manager, not the current one, and you say, "Look, did Betty do a good job on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being absolutely fantastic? Where would you rate her? How did she get along with other people? How did she get along with you? Would you hire her again? Did she make any significant errors that you might?" And the thing is, lots of times they won't want to answer, but you could tell just from their hesitation what the answer is. Okay, and it goes on for about 15 minutes. Have you done that work? Did you do that? Okay.
I have. Yes.
Okay. All the time?
It depends on the company I was working for. I don't currently do it as part of the process. I have in the past.
Okay. So do you think that you're getting an honest picture? If you're a good, a good reference check or someone who is going to corner somebody, can you get a good picture, or is it the suck up?
A lot of times you can't get them to pick up the phone when you try to do these reference checks. That's the most annoying thing about it.
We're assuming that you actually did get them on the phone, okay?
Okay.
Don't make me beg.
I have been able to tell sometimes that it was a prepared script. But I mean, who doesn't look for a job and prepares their references? That's part of being a good job seeker, so I expect that. There have been times I've heard a little hesitation in the voice. Sure. But, yeah, I've done the call reference checks. I've done email when they wouldn't call, when they wouldn't pick up their phone. I've done that as well. So, yes, I have done it.
Okay. And so let's put aside the question I asked originally. If who's going to rise to the top in a reference check, a suck-up as opposed to a creative person? Pauline, help me out. Do you have a question that's going to turn my guest on?
No, I don't. But I must say that most reference checks are useless because they don't do it with the right person. You have to do it with not who they give you as a referee, but who they actually reported to. And I've got to say about 30% of the reference checks I do are rubbish. They've even, if we're doing a reference check for a chef, they might have thrown a knife or tried to stab someone. You get all sorts of angry stuff.
Oh my God.
And just recently I did a reference check for someone who looked amazing. She was still on their website as, a senior executive. And when I did the reference check, she'd actually stolen money, like $50,000, and had a mental breakdown. So you have to do the reference checks. It's really important.
But don't you require the reference checks to be to previous managers? Because when I've done that was part of the deal. It had to be, direct managers of the past 2 jobs. That's the only way I've done it. I haven't just called whoever they gave me. It had to be, a manager.
Oh, 100%. And generally most recruiters will just call whoever they give. But I do believe I'm with you. You have to 100%. You have to call who they reported to, not necessarily who they gave you as a reference, because they're different. So many times I've called references and they've just been the receptionist they worked with and whatever. So you really have to do your due diligence there.
Yeah, and when I've done reference checks, yeah, it's been that I require. That was the requirement. It was managers, and if they had extra people that they worked closely with, maybe they were in a situation where they didn't work directly with their manager as much day to day because their manager was remote, and they had someone that was, a coworker that worked more with them. I would take an extra reference if they wanted something on top of that. But yeah, there was absolutely the requirement was management.
Jerry?
Yeah,
still awake? Jerry, still here? Jerry, gone. Lunchtime. Okay.
No,
okay.
I'm not gone. I just don't dare use this crappy old phone. unless it's something important here with you guys.
It's only occasionally. Only goes out occasionally. I won't tell you anymore to spare your feelings. Okay? Don't worry about me.
Hey, I got the message loud and clear. Shut
no,
up, Jerry.
I can hear you. I can hear you fine right now. Okay? Do you check references?
Oh, really?
But here's the question, Jerry. Here's a question I have for you. What about what they call blind references? You call people they didn't give you. Okay? Who you somehow have a contact with in that business.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it depends on the situation. I think
it also depends
more
on
or
the
less
laws
a
of
joke.
the country you're operating in.
Yeah. I mean, if I know somebody that worked there, I might.
Yeah.
References are lame.
What about Pauline knows everybody? You know everybody in Sydney. Pauline, you know everybody in Sydney. Will you call somebody that they don't give you to say, hey, do you know Kathy Young? Did she steal any money from any of her previous employers?
Well, I may not ask that question opening up, but yes, I ring people that they don't give because they always give their friends and people they didn't report to. So I don't even look at who they give me as a referee. I actually just work out who they reported to, or in the interview I might say, who did you report to there? Who was your manager? And then
okay,
I
but that's different. No, that's still going to the standard person. Will you call people that you don't tell them you're calling them, somebody else in the company or somebody at another company they worked with, and say, I'm working with this person. So you're revealing something that this person's looking for another job, and saying, yeah, what do you think of her? Will you do that?
All the time.
Okay, and it's not
Absolutely.
illegal. It's not illegal.
No, well, you see, we have a privacy statement that all candidates have to sign, and we have it written that they agree that we can call their previous employers and people they've given as referees. And once they've signed that, I can ring anyone I want.
Really? Okay.
And you have to.
I haven't been covered legally to do that, so I haven't.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you have to do that.
Okay.
But in hospitality, you couldn't believe anyone in what they say.
Okay, well, I guess you've got crazy.
I mean, half of them.
Like a specific industry thing, then I think for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Also, you know what? Like I read a bit of Anthony Bourdain as well, and there's crazy people and more crazier than usual in that business. So I guess you never know what you're going to get. And but I'm going to do an ad, okay? For Honeit, HONEIT.com. Okay, you call in to the website. You have your candidate call in. You record the interview. It gives you a text version of the whole interview, searchable. It gives you a video. It gives you an audio. And while you're talking to the person, when it comes to the key question, you press a button when it starts. When you're finished that discussion, you press another button. It stops. It creates a clip that you could send to the hiring manager. She can hear the candidate in her own words, okay? And sometimes they have a lot of sizzle, and sometimes they don't. The manager will be able to decide herself. She won't have to depend on you, the recruiter, who might not even know how to write a report, okay? So there you go. So don't forget, staffing debt. Wait a sec. StaffingDebt.com. If you are a recruiter and someone's not paying you, they specialize in getting money for recruiters. StaffingDebt.com. So go ahead. Question?
Yeah. So this is something I think would be interesting because of the times we're living in right now. How has the recruiting during the pandemic made you maybe change how you normally operate? Question for everyone.
You're asking yourself a question? Answer it. Go ahead.
Me too, but I'd be interested because you guys recruit in different markets and different profiles than I do. I'd be interested to hear how it compares to others.
Pauline is working the same as usual. There's no problems, right?
Is hospitality still as high volume as it was? I mean, did things shut down in Australia in hospitality?
Optimize your business with a Workforce AI Edge powered by Visier. Make smarter decisions and achieve better outcomes with real-time AI insights delivered to every people leader. Explore more at visier.com.
Well, they did. On the 23rd of March, they all had to shut down for a couple of months, but it's actually business as usual now. But we have, where I live, we have no community transmission of the infection. So no one wears masks, or the odd person does, but it's just really business as usual. We're so busy, but the interesting thing is it's the it's the most dry candidate market I've ever worked in. It's ridiculous. We cannot find candidates, and you think they'd be everywhere. But we haven't changed the way we work, except we've tried to work more with candidates. Obviously, it was a great moment to bond with clients, and that was really successful for us, because we got so much work. 3 of our most fierce competitors.
How do you bond with a client who can't pay you, who can't hire anybody and can't pay you? How do you bond with a client?
Oh, they're hiring, and they are paying.
No, they weren't for a while. They were closed, you said.
Yeah, but not for long, only for 8 weeks. And, and still in that time, there were people who were. There were groups who were. And probably the mid-level groups were certainly, a lot of them took the opportunity to fire their entire kitchens. We're talking about hospitality here. Like pubs, there might be a really good gastro pub, and they hated their kitchen staff. They were arcing up, whinging about being stood down and whatever. So they just fired them all and said, okay, fine, it's a whole new kitchen. So we had a lot of work on. It was actually really good. And they paid.
So it was a good opportunity to clean house for your clients. But now I've got a question. Come for Sharon, okay? There's a guy, he said online recruiting shortened his process. He can close a candidate for an IT job in 2 to 3 days now, okay? They even do complicated tech interviews remotely. Is that your experience as well? Or since you're working over such a broad territory, maybe you were all remote before, were you?
Well, some of it was remote because I work in the country I'm in, the Netherlands, of course, but I also recruit for Belgium, Denmark, Finland, and Sweden, so that's all remote. Now, yes, I found that processes have speed up where before there was everything has to be face-to-face at one point. We couldn't possibly hire someone we've never actually sat across a table to 2 weeks later, we're doing this. So, yes, I have seen processes speed up because you don't have to schedule people literally.
So, all in all, it's better. It's actually improved your hiring process. Yes?
I would say, from my point of view, it has, yes.
Okay. Pauline, it didn't change hers at all because they're all breathing on each other like crazy down there. But for you, it's better. Jerry, are you still with us? I miss you, okay? You've been gone for a few weeks.
I'm
sorry. I scared you away. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I've been abused, but I'll stick it out because I know you love me.
Yeah,
but video interviewing has become standard. For example, another thing is you may work with a company that would only send contracts in the mail and had to wait on that before they know. And, if the office is closed, that's going to take longer to get someone in there to do that. So suddenly contracts could be sent by email before they did the other, so you could at least, have the first answer.
Hold on a second. I saw you endorsing DocuSign, okay, because apparently candidates, ordinary people don't have printers anymore, and so they can't get a document, print it out, sign it, scan it, and send it back. And so everything has to be done by
I'm one of them.
e-sign.
My printer broke during the pandemic, so I'm there too. I'm one of them. When I signed on to my new job, I actually did everything with DocuSign.
Jerry, you're totally into that as well. I think you told me before.
I haven't had to print something to sign it and send it back in years, I think.
Okay, and what about your candidate? What about your candidate?
And you click sign. I don't care what they do. I don't even ask them. Not my problem. They
don't have to sign anything.
Someone mentioned on that thread for immigration they might need to.
Yeah, I don't have to tell them how to sign it. I mean, everybody knows how to get stuff done.
You guys keep talking over each other, okay? That's good. It helps me get the show on the road.
Let me talk, then, animal. You say, what about my candidates? I believe every professional across the globe is able to handle the act of returning a signed document.
Well, we just said it's not true. It's not true. It's not true. Okay.
It might not be true. It might not be true for entry-level kids out of high school or something. But
most professional
people.
what about during March? What about, okay, maybe April when the U.S. shut down, because they shut down in March here, but I think April is when they start in the U.S. Okay, so everything's shut down, right? So
hold on, I just got to take care of some business. Hold on,
just
some housekeeping for a second. Pauline, I know it's the middle of the night there. You should be sleeping, okay? So don't feel you have to stay on if it gets tiring for you, okay? I'm worried about
you. It's only 2:39.
Yeah, okay. Well, I call that the middle of the night, okay? 2:30 in here. It's not daytime, okay? Just letting you know if you disappear.
I don't know, Pauline, are you a night owl? I am.
Oh, I always am. Yes.
Yeah, I was born one, so I'm right there with you on that.
Okay.
My point was, during the pandemic, all these centers that you would normally have open for printing services everything was closed. So let's say you don't have a printer at home, or like me, your printer broke and you can't get it fixed because no one's coming out to fix them, and you need to sign something. So if the business wants to hire you, it's not going to cost them much to send a courier over with the contract for you to sign and arrange to pick it up. That's the least they can do.
Okay.
If they really need it in a hard copy.
Okay.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't remember. I don't remember a big rush to have a bunch of people signing employment offers the first couple of weeks of the pandemic. I experienced exactly the opposite.
I had one offer go through during those weeks, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
What about this? Hire fast, fire fast. It's more effective to hire people, test them on the job, and let them go if they don't fit, and they'll usually leave on their own. You don't even have to fire them, than to spend too much time and effort testing their skills before you give them the job. Hire fast, fire fast.
I'd say onboarding costs more.
Okay.
I mean, from what I've seen, I think the whole getting someone in the onboarding process, that would be more expensive than that.
Okay, and he also said he said I guess it also helps that my intuition doesn't fail me much. Okay, so gut feel. This guy says gut feel is important to him. Isn't gut feel taboo in today's world?
Taboo? If it's
it's
you're going
too
on,
subjective.
Sure.
It's subjective. It's not evidence-based. It's biased. It's open to bias.
Yep.
Do you have gut feel? Is gut feel important to you?
Sometimes, yeah, to an extent. But I've learned to trust mine. But I will question it. I mean, I'll question it, but I don't dismiss it automatically.
Do you have an example of when you've questioned your gut feel?
Sure. Let's say I've had
Hold on a second. Jerry's breathing heavy. Jerry, you want to ask her a question?
Okay.
I'm not. I have a beginner.
No, that's a ridiculous question, dude.
Why?
Do you have an example of a time that you questioned your gut reaction?
Yeah.
That's just so stupid, man. I can't even.
No, I've had it where
I'd have to pull it up.
Second.
I mean, I don't think about this all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what do you write all this stuff down for future reference?
Like, dude, you should have given me this to prepare, and I could have had a story for you.
Yeah, well, I should have. I can remember. I remember I had a guy, and I don't like this guy.
Right.
Okay?
I guess it's easier when you've made 7 placements in the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's easy to keep track of everything you've done when it's a short list.
Right. Okay. So, I don't like this guy, I said to myself, but I want to be fair, okay? And on paper, he's got what they want.
Nah.
So, I sent him out, and the guy, the manager liked him and I recommended, no, don't go with him. Go with this other candidate. Well, he went with the candidate I didn't like. Well, it didn't work out. Okay. Because I questioned.
Okay, so, yeah, I had that where someone was the most qualified candidate that I had. I mean, and it was also industry specific. He just blew the other candidates out of the water, and he did get hired. I didn't have the best gut feeling about him, but frankly, yeah, my options weren't great. And I saw the fallout of that afterwards with how other people started leaving the organization because of dealing with him. So, yes, I have been there.
Now, but you said, look, if you would give me these questions in advance, I'd have a story for you. But we expect candidates to say, "Oh, do you remember a time when this happened?" And we expect them to give an answer. How can they give an answer, okay, unless it's something that happened every day? And that might be what you're looking for, someone who's done the same thing again and again. Pauline, I'm going to go to you in a second, but first I want to do an ad. I have to do an ad for staffingdebt.com. If you are a recruiter and someone doesn't pay you, staffingdebt.com will go and get your money for you, and they know all about recruiting, okay? That's their specialty. My other sponsors are PCRecruiter.net, the very flexible, customizable recruiting software, Honeit, HONEIT.com, the online interview recording technology, and HireTool, HIRETUAL, the super-duper sourcing tool that every famous recruiter loves. Pauline, gut feel. You seem like a gut feel girl to me. Is it okay if I call you a girl? Go ahead.
Call me girl. I like that. Gut feel, absolutely. Go with your intuition. Every time I have not run with it, it has bitten me on the ass. And I think every good recruiter has intuition and gut feel. We should use it.
Okay. Now, here's the thing, though. Isn't it illegal to use your gut feel? If somebody, can they go to the government and say, look, I'm qualified for this job, and they didn't hire me? And could you say to the, I based it on gut feel. I didn't like them.
No, that happens all the time.
You don't say
no, you don't.
Get a job because my gut feeling.
And frankly, you hear that from hiring managers too. You hear the hiring managers liked someone more than the other, and maybe the other person was as qualified or more. But hiring decisions are made like that all the time on that level, so why would it be a problem for us?
Well, isn't that something we're supposed to fight with hiring managers about? I didn't like them.
It really depends if they're qualified enough to do the job and you think they've got the right kind of – depends on the role, too. If they've got the right kind of personality to really nail that role, then why would I fight with them on it if they're going to fit well and work out in the organization?
Let me narrow this down, Sharon. I'm going to corner you, okay? You've got this facade of you're so reasonable and stuff like that. They give you a tough search, okay? They give you a tough search, and you go crazy trying to fill this thing. Finally, you find somebody, okay? Needle in a haystack. And the hiring manager says, I'm going to take a pass. And you say, why? And she says, my gut, I don't like his personality, whatever. What are you going to say? Yeah, okay, sure? No. You're going to take that person to task.
I'm going to question it. I mean, it's like, what about it? I dig into it. I don't become competitive because that's not going to win you anything. But I do find out what it was exactly because if I wasn't in the room in that interview, I don't know what happened then.
Okay, so in the end, you'd cave. If a hiring manager says, I don't like him personally, even though that kind of person is hard to find, she's got the right credentials, you are going to cave. Jerry, will you cave into that? If you're still with us or busy in your fridge or whatever you're doing. Okay, hold on. We got some new people. Oh, Michael G. Cox is here. Michael G. Cox saved me, okay? Did you hear? Michael, you missed it, Michael G. Cox. Kathleen Steffi's PR person got in touch with me. They wanted to mention your name, and they thought it was Michael G. Fox. I told her that's the actor.
Yeah, just Michael. It's fine. In regards to gut, I think the problem with gut is it's comforting. People may leave an interview with that comfort of saying, "Yeah, I like the cut of that guy's jib," but it's misleading, and so you have to counterbalance that with scorecards or something that is actually measurable versus just saying, yeah, he has no experience whatsoever, but man, we really got along. That's what gut is, just in my honest opinion. And gut gets a lot of people in trouble, and people that don't know how to interview or make selections properly, maybe they just rely on gut a little too much.
Michael G. Cox, everybody, C-O-X, MikeRecruiter.com. Okay, so hold on a second. This is the key question. If it's a hard-to-find candidate, the hiring manager says no, would you force her to hire that person? I mean, twist. You say, I can't force anybody. I mean, twist her arm and saying, I'm going to quit, okay, if you try to send me out again to find someone we're desperate to hire, and I'm telling you there's no one else in the market.
No, you don't force anybody. You can't force anybody.
Exactly.
And if you want the rest of your fee, if you're on a retained search, you're not going to quit.
Okay, we're talking now. Okay, this is a corporate
quit.
recruiter.
I can't just drop a search.
Recruiter?
I have to fill everything I have.
No, you don't.
I do because I'm not an agency recruiter.
Okay, well, I'm fresh out of corporate, and what I would typically do in a situation where I had a hiring manager that was difficult to work with, first of all, you have to have the buy-in from on high, from that VP or above level, and when you go back to him and say, hey, man, Tom is being difficult again, you and I discussed what is actually needed for this role, but he's not being cooperative, and I found somebody that meets the criteria that you and I spoke about, and he's blaming gut for not wanting to move forward with the candidate. Listen, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this position on hold because we're at an impasse. But it's difficult to do that if you don't have an audience with the president who understands. You guys are in alignment with regard to what is needed for the position.
So Michael G. Cox, what you'll do is you'll turn your hiring manager, you'll turn the president or the VP against your hiring manager. You use them against each other, right? They must love you after that, right?
No. Well, I'm not doing it for. I wasn't doing that job for love. And the thing is that if I speak to a hiring manager, a sales manager, they're typically looking for a certain set of criteria, we'll call it. And more often than not, they'll say things like, we need to hire another person like Susan. Or, man, if we could have another John in here, that would be great. And rather than breaking it down to what does this person actually have to accomplish in this position so that in the next 12 months we look back and say, solid hire. And unfortunately what most companies and agencies do is they do things like, I know what I'll want when I see it. And
I don't work like that.
What the top 10 or whatever percent of agencies or companies do is they're going to interview 4 times. They're going to put this person through their paces. If it's a sales position, they're going to make them make some actual sales calls and test drive this individual and have a scorecard that's uniform.
You're not teaching a class here, okay?
Sorry.
But
you
what
got
you
me
said,
going,
Michael, is I set that up from the beginning so that doesn't happen, because when I start recruiting a role, and my previous job I did this, and this I have a more structured form, I have about a 45-minute plus meeting with the manager, and we go through the job description and see if it actually is reality, and we talk about what this person's going to do. I don't go by, just someone like so-and-so. I wouldn't recruit on that basis.
What do you do when you've got somebody, a candidate or 3 candidates that meet all the criteria that you spoke about during that discovery session or that intake session, but they're still wanting to go with this person over here that actually isn't all that qualified? That's the difficult, recruiter conversation that needs to be had.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Michael G. Cox, hold on. Michael G. Cox is essentially saying, I would force this person's hand, okay? If she won't go with my recommendation, I'm going above her, okay? And I'm going to make sure this works out the way I want it to. That's tough.
That depends on who's
I
above
like that.
them. I tried that once. It didn't work.
Jerry, that's my kind of action. Jerry, that's my kind of talk, right? Okay, he's not there. I thought he was groaning. Okay. Look,
but it's not like a nuclear option. But
no.
Ultimately, you have a responsibility to the organization
You're
to
so
make sure
soft-spoken.
that
Who would
the
imagine
people
that
that
you would
hire
have the
don't dilute
backbone
the
to do
capabilities
that?
of
Okay,
that team.
maybe you're one of these introverts. They don't care if anybody likes them or not. Okay, and they'll go. Okay, a final question for Pauline, if she's still on, because she's like this. Hospitality business seems like the Wild West. I mean, there's a bunch of freaks working back there. They don't stay very long. Okay, is diversity an important element, Pauline, in recruiting for you? Is it an issue?
Are you an HR or talent leader trying to figure out how to have the biggest impact on your business and your people? Listen, you're busier than ever, but you're also under more pressure than ever before. The We're Only Human podcast has been running for over 10 years, helping leaders get a handle on these topics. I'm Ben Eubanks, the host of the show, and I started my career as an HR practitioner and executive. Now I run a research firm dedicated to exploring the trends affecting work and the workplace. We cover research from a practical lens, technology changes, compelling case studies, and more, so that you can get back to work and have the impact you've always wanted to. And we do it with some fun. Check out the We're Only Human podcast today.
It doesn't come into it. We don't even think about diversity. We don't have it here.
Was that because you guys are racist back down there in Australia, or is it because it just...
No.
Hey, animal,
it's not,
careful.
It's because we're not racist. You see, we don't have any, no. Diversity, we don't have
You got
any
Graham standing up for you. He never says a peep, okay?
No diversity down there, none.
No, absolutely not. It's everyone's the same here because it's very multicultural here. So we don't actually think about race. And I work in hospitality where 90% of the people
I got to tell you something. I have read in the last week, we don't think about race is a racist statement. That is racist as far as I can tell now, okay?
If you don't think about race, you can be pretty sure you're privileged, yeah.
No. But no, where I work in hospitality, 90% of our people are from international, and mainly from Asia.
What about indigenous?
And from India and...
Okay.
We don't
the indigenous
actually
population,
have...
that's usually where the problem is in Australia, right?
Okay,
no,
I got a question for Sharon before I got to move to Europe. She's our Dutch friend, quasi-Dutch American friend here. Before we're over, okay? Okay. Mm-hmm. There's people on Facebook saying that there's unfair pressure right now on recruiters to get diverse candidates because of all the action that's happening in the United States. Recruiting is getting a lot of pressure to present a diverse slate of candidates for every position they work on. And the management from the company is sending weekly emails to everybody in the company, right? And so that some people said, hey, that's just a panic reaction, okay, or it's just for show. They want to show that they're bringing in some diverse candidates. They'll haul anybody in there just to make sure they've got certain names on the slate for
haul
interviews.
Anyone in there? That's framing it that they would accept unqualified candidates as long as they're diverse.
It sounds
so
like it because
that.
That's what the thing is. People are saying these are panic, not rational responses. If they were serious, they would say, look,
it's funny, Michael,
let me finish the question. Let me finish the question. If they were serious, they'd say, let's put a new strategy in place so we draw on different networks and different sourcing pools in the future. It will be a planned thing, not something we have to do overnight. Go ahead. Now it's all you.
I think you need both. But one thing I have noticed is every single comment on there that was complaining about this was white. That's interesting, isn't it?
I don't know. Is it? I can't remember. I don't know.
It is, because every single person that I saw on that thread that was saying that it was unfair, they were all coming from a position of privilege. They weren't diverse candidates themselves if they were looking for a job. So I did notice that. I don't think it's unfair to ask that. I'd love to be asked that, actually. What I think is you need more than just a quick solution that's coming from recruitment. Now, statistically, the more diverse candidates you have in a pool, the more likely they are to hire one because you'll have numbers on your side. But, yes, it has to go beyond that. There has to be a culture change. You have to make sure your managers are going to
Has
adequately
this impacted
value
you at all?
these diverse
Are you talking in
candidates, too.
theory, or is it something that you've experienced yourself? Final question.
Well, I have brought a number of female engineers on a team before where there were none. So I have experienced that. Unfortunately, almost every single one of them are gone now.
Why is that?
Well, bringing people in doesn't change the culture.
Okay, you mean they're getting sexist remarks or unpleasant
No,
hassle?
not necessarily. I'm just saying that you have to. It's not sexist remarks so much. You have to have a culture that is encouraging. And also, do you have more flexibility for someone who may need to take care of a child, for example? Do you connect them to professional networks, which I was doing personally? I was going out and networking in professional women's groups, and I brought them into it by connecting them. But that was
okay. So should a recruiter be telling the managers, the hiring managers, the VPs, look, if you want to have a gender diverse engineering team, it's way more than just bringing in candidates. You have to set up a whole new structure for timing and things like that. Is it the recruiter's job? Is the recruiter's job to agitate for that? Is it the recruiter's job to agitate for that?
An inside recruiter, to an extent, but you definitely need to have HR as your partner in that because usually they have the flex to get something done on that. The TA doesn't.
Okay. Graham Caulfield, Pauline.
Yes.
For Pauline, from Caulfield, Graham is in Texas.
Hi.
But he's an expatriate,
good
Australian.
Night, Pauline.
Oh, I'm from Texas too originally. Cool.
Hi.
Okay.
And hi,
Pauline's still in Australia. She's in Sydney, called all the way. Pauline Rogers. She's in the hospitality business. Michael G. Cox, MikeRecruiter.com, not Michael G. Fox. Don't get them confused. And Jerry, who's been pouting for the last 30 minutes because I criticized his phone. Wait, I forgot to thank the guest. Sharon D. Clark, thank you!
We can do this offline. But we're not doing it on this show.
If you want to take it personal, feel free.
I'll take you on. I will take you on.
We're not even talking about you at all. We're talking about animals. So if you want to take it personal, feel free. I'm not even personally attacking you.